Hey guys, welcome back to the tiny house build. Haven't posted for a little bit, so I thought I'd share what I've gotten done so far. Quite a bit in the last week or so. So, got the floor done, as you can see. I wanted to show you how I did that. I think I kind of showed it a little bit, but you can kind of see I've got ledger boards, 2x6 treated lumber. It's called borate lumber here in Hawaii. And that is sitting nailed into the posts, 4x4 posts that are in the ground. And then I've got 2x6s that are sitting on top of that. And then I made a little detail here where I cut off the post, but on the inside right here, you can't see it, but I notched it. So I took this side off and this side off for the width of the 1.5 inches basically for the 2x6. So the boards sit on top of the post. I've seen it done a couple ways, but that's the way I did it. And in the middle, got 2 ledger boards, one on each side. I used 8-foot long floor joists, and I spread mine 16 inches on center. There's one ledger board over there, and again on the outside there's a rim joist on that one too. So floor system, I went down, I put blocking in the middle all the way down on both sides of the where the 8-footers join together in the middle. I have like a ladder blocking system going all the way down the middle, and I have 1/2-inch plywood on the floor. Now the plywood is not screwed down all the way. I did screw it down all the way around the outside where I put the boards, but I had to get some more screws. So you can see my screws next to my compressor ran out. So I got everything down where the walls are going, and I'm going to go back and screw. I use screws, coated screws for the floor system to keep that held down. So I got the walls up, and show you a little detail about that. I've got one door, one window there. That window is 1 foot tall by 3 feet wide. And then I've got 2 other windows over here, 4 foot wide by 3 foot tall. And I just want to show you how I detailed out the walls. Well, first let me start with how I laid everything out. So you can see my X's here, where I laid out the floor, or not the floor, but the walls. And they're 16 inches on center. But this mark right here, that's not 16 inches. So 16 inches is in the middle, right? So this is 15 1/4. So all you have to do, go to your tape measure, and this is a cheap one. It's from Harbor Freight. It was free, I think, actually. But you see how the number's red? That's 16 inches. So when I started my measurement, I started here, pulled the tape out, and I had the top and bottom plate sit next to each other. So these lines are identical on the top and bottom. So these line up nice and straight up and down. And I measured 15 1/4, right? So you found the red mark, and then go back 3/4. And you say, well, why is it 15 1/4? Well, this is 1.5 inches wide. So 3/4 of that is where the line goes. So I drew a line at 15 1/4, and then I mark an X to know that the board goes on that side of the line. I did that all the way down. And you don't have to keep moving your tape measure. I'll show you a cool little trick here. So the tape measure has little red markings, and those are 16 inches center, right? So you got 16, 32, and it goes up to 48, and it just keeps going. And you just lay those all out, put the X's, and go from there. Now, you probably think, like, well, how do I know where to put the window, right? I don't know how to do that. I didn't either, so don't worry. So basically what I did is I determined where the window is going to go. And I decided, well, there's already a stud there. So I'm going to put the window starting right there. And so the king stud, which is the first, that's within 16 inches on center, right? That's already there. So the window is 4 feet wide. And just to give you a little information about windows, when you go to buy a window, it may be 4 foot by 3 foot, but the window is 1/2 inch shorter than that. So the opening you're going to put to 4 foot by 3 foot, exactly, right? And the reason for that is you have a little 1/4 inch of movement on each side of the window, so you can get it in there and get it adjusted properly, fill it with insulation, all that good jazz. So kind of think, well, how do I lay out the window, right? Well, you got to have the inside opening be exactly 3 feet. Well, this one's 4 feet this way and 3 feet this way, up and down, right? So what does it lay out to? So you know you got your king stud, and the king stud goes all the way to the top, and that's part of those 16 uncenters that you already put together. And then right next to it you have the jack stud, and this actually supports the header, right? See that? So that supports the header. And then these little ones down here are, I believe the term is cripple. I don't know if that's a PC term anymore, but that's what it is. So you'll see marked out here KJC, and that's king stud, jack, cripples. And then over here, got another king stud. So how do you know where to put the king studs? Well, you find your first one, and then you've got 1.5 inches for the jack stud, and you've got 1.5 inches for the jack stud there, and another king stud, right? So I measured from the king stud over 4 foot 3 inches, right? 3 inches to account for the 2 jack studs, and then another 1.5 inches for the king stud, right? So that's how I marked it out. So I took my tape measure, came from the king stud, measured over to get the edge of the jack stud here, and it's going to be 4 foot 3 inches, right? Because that way, when you take a tape measure from the inside of the jack stud to the inside of the jack stud, you're going to get exactly 4 feet. And then you probably wonder, like, hey, how tall do I make the jack studs? Well, how tall is your window, right? So the starting height typically is 3 feet. That's where I put my sill. So 3 feet to here, right? And then there's a line, that's 3 feet. X is to put the board below it. So then I took, this is another 3 feet, right? So that's how I know how tall this board is, just by measuring it out. So 2 2x6s nailed together. They're sitting on top of the jack stud, and then I filled in the cripples in between. And you're still going to mark 16 on center because your exterior boards still have to mount up to here, right? So those are 16 on center marks that you marked out earlier, all of them, all the way down. And then when you're putting your boards together, you make these additional marks, a C, J, K, so that way you know the king stud is the only one you need a full stud for. So when you're laying out your board, your wall, you put all the king studs and all the X's together, nail it all together, and then you lay in all this other stuff, right? So that's how I put it together. I hope that helps. Helps you be able to put it together. I'm not a carpenter. This may be wrong, and if you see anything that's wrong, please let me know. I know that there's supposed to be a little bit of plywood in between those 2x6s. I didn't have any, so it is what it is. It's flush to the inside wall, so the drywall will sit nice and flush, and the outside is not. But this is a small enough structure that I feel like it's probably going to be just fine. So that's why I did that. And then I've got the rest of the walls. I'll kind of pop inside here so you can kind of see what the space looks like. It's actually pretty big in here. There's another window. You can see the detail of the window, how it's flush with the inside here. See the bananas? These are the ice cream bananas. They're growing quite nicely. If you guys have been following before, you've seen these probably 2 or 3 weeks ago. I cut the head off and it's starting to fill in the bananas. These are ice cream bananas. They're a little bit different than what you see in the mainland at the store. We also have apple banana here, Cuban red banana, all kinds of different bananas here in Hawaii. And I got another one that just started. Check that out. So these started with 3 plants, actually 4 plants. This one and the 3 big ones. And they were small. They were all the size of like that one when they started. And these things just kind of take off, they spread. That one wasn't there before. That's kind of taken off. It's moved out. So call them KKs, baby bananas. They're coming up. So back to the structure. There's the doorway. I've laid out I'm gonna have a shower and a bath and a toilet in here. So I kind of laid out the little shower, right? And then kind of laid out where I want the door to be. I think the doorway is going to be smaller than that actually, because I've got to fit a toilet in right here, facing that way. So this is the door to come in, and those are just bracing, by the way. Those just were just to get it up there without it falling apart, right? Because when I framed this wall. This is an 8-foot wall. Put it all together, and I had just enough space. It worked out just perfectly to frame in that. So I'm going to have another top plate on top. So there'll be another 2x4. And those 2x4s will go over to this and join them. Kind of sister them all together. It'll sister those together, and then it comes all the way down, and that one goes across, and that one stops there. So it just allows the walls to kind of join together. So that's the space. I think it's going to be a pretty good little spot. What do you guys think? You like it? Next thing to do is to put in the top plate, make sure everything's nice and level, which I pretty much is. I just got to rack some things around a little bit and put some 2x4s inside to kind of brace it up inside more. And then I'm going to add a little tiny guy up here. I've got a 2x8, I think I got. That's going to go across, and it's going to sit. It's going to go up, I think it was 2 feet up. So 2 foot minus whatever it is, 8 inches or 10 inches for the board, right? So it's going to be 2 feet up. So it's going to be 10 feet up in the air to the peak of the roof. And then I've actually got 2x4s. And the span is only 6 1/4, I think, something like that. Something along those lines. So online says I can span them that far, 2x4s. And then here, it's a little bit different. So we don't use plywood on the roof in Hawaii. Well, we do now, I guess, but previous to this, we didn't. It was purlins. So basically, we have 2x4 kind of going down from the bridge beam, I guess, sitting down there, the rafters. And then on top of them, there's a 2x4 laid down on its flat. And that goes all the way across. And they hang out 2 feet. So I'm going to do 2 foot overhang on that side. And then 3 feet on this side, just because the door's here and it's going to hang out a little bit further. And I'm going to probably do a little tiny deck right there. Just a staircase coming up and then the deck. I'll probably extend it out to about yay-ter. So yeah, so that's it. You can see I've made some mistakes. I'm not perfect. I've got to pull that and reshoot that directly into the board rather than through the side of it. But it's hot here. I was just trying to get through the day and should have been more careful, but it's something I can always fix, right? So that's the update. I hope you guys are enjoying watching this. Can't wait to get it finished up, and I'll bring you guys along for the journey. So if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, hit the button. It doesn't cost anything. You don't have to pay anything, you don't have to do anything. You literally just push the button, and helps me out quite a bit on my end. And if you like the video, hit the like button, leave a comment, and yeah, we'll go from there. Talk to you guys next time. Thanks for watching.